Our broadcast or bus media panel. Will be sort of similar to what we talked about in the last panel, but specifically to how broadcast media can be used in your promotion strategy and how to interact with TV and radio in the podcast environment. I'd like to introduce Mark Thorn, executive producer at Studio 10. Lee Courtney, who has a big fancy title at WMNF and also works with BAMA. Oh, BAMA was also a great sponsor of this event. Jordan Appelt, who works with Creative Loafing and is a podcaster with Smash Radio, and Ryan Bauer, who also is filling that capacity on this panel. Thank you again for coming, and have fun on your panel.
You're not going to ask us questions?
Yeah.
We got a great moderator. You want to moderate?
My name is Anthony Dorman. I'm going to be moderating this panel as well.
I need a break.
So let's just start by going down the table and talk about what your media is, and just kind of a little bit about what you do. That'll be a good start. How about that? Mark, you want to start?
Sure. I'm Mark Thorn. Like I said, I'm the executive producer for Studio 10. We're a live television program that runs Monday through Friday on the CBS affiliate 10 Connects. We are designed primarily as a moneymaker for the station. I won't lie, I won't hide that. But we sell segments on the air. But if you've ever seen our show, and some of you folks have actually been on our show, know that we do it in such an easy-handed way. It doesn't seem very, very contrived, or it's not Home Shopping Network at all. But it's a couple of hosts sitting on the couch or a kitchen or in a performance area talking about anything from dentistry to selling cars and all that kind of stuff. So that's why we were created, but know that makes up about 30 to 40% of what we do. So we have to fill 70 to 60% of the rest of the show. How do we do it? Well, we feature musicians, we feature authors, we feature if someone's got a charity event coming up, needs some publicity, promotion, we have them on to talk about that. We cook, we do song and dance, you name it, we do it. So we're a variety show. And since the beginning, since we launched in 2006, one of the things that we really want to do was feature entertainment and music, and that's where, unlike the folks in the previous panel who get to go out and see a lot of live music, I don't get out by virtue of having 3-year-old twins, so I get my local music fix by having folks on the show. So it's a great thrill to help local musicians out. That's what we do.
I'm leaning forward. Okay. I'm nervous with these microphones. Flea from WMNF, music director there, and WMNF you probably heard about, non-commercial FM station. What somebody may not have heard about is we're actually going HD, have gone HD, and actually WMNF is now 3 channels. We're regular WMNF on your FM dial, but then we're also repeating as HD1, which is WMNF, HD2, which is Bulls Radio, USF Radio, the student-run station, is broadcast on WMNF HD2, and then HD3, which is a public affairs channel. And we play lots of local music on a radio station. We believe in it. We do lots of shows featuring local musicians. Just recently, we did the CD release party for Steve Connolly and his band, and we've done similar things for Rebecca Pulley, Have Gun Will Travel, and things like that. And we don't just do it just to support the local music, we do it because it's really good music. So keep doing the music, we'll keep playing it.
I'm Jordan, and I'm the marketing director at Creative Loafing currently, but for 4 or so years, probably from 2006 to 2009, or 2005 to 2009, I had a thing called the Southeast Music Alliance, and we had a podcast called Smash Radio. We played a lot of local music of all kinds of genres, and Ryan here was actually the co-host of that show. We won a couple of awards for the show, and now most recently with my employment at Creative Loafing, we recently started up something called CL Sessions, which we did 1 season of, and that was a show where we brought bands into our studio to perform live. They played 3 songs, they did some interviews, we filmed the show, and then we also did a podcast of the show, which included the interviews. The videos just included the performances. That's something that we're not currently filming now, but we are going to ramp up a music podcast at Leilani. I'm going to ramp up another music podcast here soon. And that's what I've done and what's relevant to this band.
I'm Ryan Bauer. I work for the Tampa Tribune and TVO.com, which are not broadcast things. But as Jordan said, I did co-host the Southeast Music Alliance, and we do have a podcast, a monthly podcast on TVO.com called What Goes On, where we profile a band or a singer-songwriter every month and have them come in, play a song, and do an interview. And I actually just wanted another bottle of water, so they're making me sit up here.
We pay the panelists in water. I think most of our audience is probably interested in how they can take advantage of what you guys do for your various media outlets. Let's go down the line. Maybe we can start over at the end and talk about the selection process. How do you find music? Do you pick music you like? Do you get submissions, for the media that we're talking about?
Yeah, we do take submissions. The people we tend to profile on our podcast are groups. It's usually tied to an event, like if they have a CD release coming up, or a big show or something like that. And as far as the selection process, you guys already kind of do a lot of that, and the music fans do a lot of that, and that the people we tend to profile, since it is so limited, do tend to be the ones who have the biggest amount of buzz, like Jerry X or Have Gun Will Travel. Those are the kind of people, since we only have this limited slot every month, that we tend to call from.
Yeah, same with us. Smash Radio was a little different because it was more like a radio show. We did a little talk, and we would bring artists in on the show and talk to them. Didn't really need to have an event coming up to tie to it. It helps. But with the more so, as opposed to radio and TV, with the podcast environment, you may have people listening to the archive of your show. So if you're talking about a concert that happened in 2009, it's not really going to be relevant to a podcast listener. Now with SEO and Google and all that, they may stumble upon that show later. So concert reports and listings and events weren't really a priority for what we were doing. We were more looking to archive the music that we curated and found in the scene, and we did everything from jazz to rock to hip hop to everything that we could find. And there was a submission process. We encouraged people to email and mail in the CDs, but it's mainly like we talked about in the previous panel. It's relationships. It's relationship building. So.
Well, to get on the air at WMNF, it's basically sending us a CD. I can go into more detail. Maybe it might be better if you had specific questions. I could answer various questions about submitting a CD or getting on the air, getting your concert listings on a station like WMNF. And I think we're pretty much like a lot of community radio stations. I've been to a few, and they're all, with a few exceptions, about the same as far as getting on the air.
We take submissions. Usually it's to me or someone else on my staff. An email, sent to me, or a phone call. Hey, I'm in this band. We've got this going on. And I always tell folks, send me your stuff, be it an email or send me to a website. Probably the first thing. Some people send me press materials, which is great too. I prefer going to a website because not only is it going to tell me where you are musically, it's going to tell me where you are as a band and what you're doing. If you've got a really pro website and everything's put together, I know this is this isn't some garage band who's just looking for some pub for the next keg or so, which happens. It happens quite a bit. So emails, phone calls, usually the way to get our interest. And we'll listen. When I say we, it's mostly me. We'll listen to anything, but first and foremost in our minds is that the band has to fit our audience. We're not as eclectic an audience as you guys are, certainly. We have a very limited reach in terms of, when I say limited relative to the entire market. There are only so many people at home at 10 o'clock in the morning. So we gotta kind of cater or pander to what they want to listen to. So that said, we're not going to do anything really heavy. We're not going to do any hip hop or anything like that. But we've made our bread and butter on people. The joke in the office is a chick with a pick. A girl with a guitar, a guy with a guitar. But that's not to say that we won't go out and do a little something that maybe fish out of water for us if we think it's pretty cool. I was telling Leilani a couple weeks ago we had a band called Mighty Mongo on, completely out of our realm. They're kind of a big kind of setup, kind of rocking kind of a thing, and may not really cater to our audience, but we heard them and we were like, wow, this is a stretch, but we'll give it a shot. And they came in and they just kicked butt, and they were really cool. I'll be honest with you, there's been some times, we have relationships with the Performing Arts Center and the Ruth Eckerd Hall. I go back to the late 80s and early 90s, Queensryche came to town. And I was like, hey, can we have Queensryche on? They said, sure. And so they showed up, and they did an acoustic set, and it was awesome. So it's all just, we'll listen to anything, we'll decide from there on what it is. But an email or, usually an email or a phone call is how to get the conversation started.
Do you prefer digital, or do you prefer hard copy CDs with the press kit, or what's your preference?
I would say, like I said, if I can get a link to a website just so that I can flip through your music and kind of get a sense of what you got going on. I've got 3 or 4 different songs up there. I can listen to them on the MySpace page. We get a lot of stuff from that. The press stuff, the big heavy press packs really don't usually come to us, but through folks that have PR companies that are repping folks, and usually that's more regional stuff, more national stuff that we get from that. But for the local folks, I mean, like I said, a MySpace page is usually the first place we'll go. And going back to what we're looking for, obviously we're looking to cater to our audience, but we also want bands to come on and have something to promote, whether it's a new CD release or they're headlining this big show, because we want to leave our audience with something to do. We don't want, entertaining folks is great, but I want folks who are watching my show to say, hey, I like that so much. Where can I see it? Where can I get the album? What can I do? Where can I go from here to take the next step? So if you got something to promote, like I said, a new CD is great for us because it gives, part of our show isn't just playing, it's also being interviewed. We generally ask folks to do 2 songs in an interview, so we want you to have something to talk about. So hey, so tell us what's going on with your band.
Not much.
Yeah, exactly. It's not really good TV. Oh, we got the idea. So we want something to be able to run with because there is that chatter we do in between the songs. So.
Can I ask a question?
To me?
Mark?
Sure.
Because you mentioned regional bands will come through and
Sure.
the PR company will reach out or the agent will reach out. And they're going to talk a little bit later in the sessions about touring. And a lot of the bands might be on the road looking for a TV station, not necessarily in Florida, to do an appearance on, to hype their appearance at a club that night or something. Are there any general rules that you might be able to give that are ways to find shows in other cities or states that do what you do? And if so, how to contact them?
That's a good question. For those of you guys who don't know, our station is owned by Gannett, who's a big newspaper company. They also own 20 stations around the nation like ours. And of those 20 stations, there may be 6 or 7 shows like ours on those stations in Atlanta, in Minneapolis, in Denver, and not Washington, D.C., but Sacramento, Phoenix. I think Cleveland still has a show. So, if there's something that I really dig, we were all on email, and I'll shoot, a note out to my fellow executive producers and say, hey, if you got so-and-so coming through town, I just want to let you know they were great. There's a link to our website, to show you what they did. And, not everybody has the ability to do the setup we can, and even in that, we're a little limited, but just getting out to our sister stations is the most that we can do. I mean, there isn't this network of TV executive producers out there who are sharing these things. Not a bad idea, but it's really just word of mouth. And if something moves me that much, and I hear that you're going to be going through Atlanta in a couple of weeks, I'll say, hey, Atlanta and Company, there's a great band coming up. You might want to give them a listen.